Highguard is a perfect example of the lack of accountability that exists within the video game industry. None of the people that were on this team want to take a step back and say, you know what, we just created something that didn't really mesh with the audience we wanted to target, and instead they've doubled, tripled, and quadrupled down on toxic gamers killing this experience. They've whined about how they weren't given a fair shot, and now a Highguard dev is blaming the flop on gamer slander. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, the reason that studios put out teasers and trailers is for you to judge them. They are simply mad that we are judging them and we are not instantly saying, oh my gosh, this looks like the greatest product ever created. When we criticize, they freak out, and that is what has happened here because Josh Sobel here has decided to put out this extremely lengthy statement on how it was unfair to call it Concord 2 and how they deserved better, and also how a lot of journalists supported them. And some of these journalists are individuals who, well, support companies like Sweet Baby Inc. And they don't really care about the overall health of the video game industry. They simply care that the narratives they want pushed in entertainment are. Now, as I always say, games are allowed to exist, and we are allowed to point and laugh at them. I would never tell a developer you cannot create this certain game, but they should not in turn say you are not allowed to criticize it. And here he is reflecting on shipping his first game, but it's all about how, gamer culture was the primary reason that the game failed, and within minutes it was decided this game was dead on arrival, which is so hilarious because you had 97,000 people who at one point logged into your game and said, you know what, I am going to give that a shot. There are millions of other developers out there who would love that opportunity. And if they had seen such a drastic drop, they would have said to themselves, hey, it just wasn't a game that people really vibed with, wasn't a game that captured their attention. We need to do better in the future, but that's not what's happening here. So everyone he knew who had any connection to the team or the project had the same sentiments. This is lightning in a bottle. I trust this team wholeheartedly. This has mainstream hit written all over it. There's no way this will flop. I could play this game all day. If there's one project nobody in the industry is worried will fail, it's yours. So a lot of toxic positivity happening within the video game industry. It's always nice for our suspicions to be confirmed. They are only hiring people within their echo chamber. They are not bringing people on who are actually going to be critical. They are only bringing on journalists and content creators who can profit off of getting early access to an experience like this. That is the unfortunate situation of the video game industry. They don't want to listen to anybody who isn't going to sit there and, give them a wank. But the internal pre-reveal feedback, even from unbiased sources, was quite positive, and where it was negative, it was constructive and often actionable. People who played the game, including us, had a blast. You're not making a game for yourselves, you're making your game for the public. You are making your game for an audience. And in 2026, gamers have clearly voiced what it is they like and what they do not like. It says, when the trailer came out, it was all downhill from there. Content creators love to point out the bias in folks who give positive previews after being flown out for an event, but ignore the fact that when their negative leading content gets 10 times the engagement of the positive, they've got just as much incentive to lean into a disingenuous direction, whether consciously or not. As I always say, I think that it is important that we do criticize if the game doesn't look up to our expectations or up to our standards. We should not just be silent because, we might hurt a developer's feelings. And yes, when you fly someone out to an event, when you are paying for hotels and flights, and you are paying for accommodations, and you are allowing them into this scene to see a game early, you are going to be seeing the responses on social media where people say, oh yeah, they're 100% biased because it makes sense. And also, again, you're only flying out certain types of people. I didn't see anybody who was flown out that had opinions even close to mine. And I'm honestly pretty tame when it comes to some of my opinions on games. Hell, I play a lot of these. I played Reloaded. I played Highguard for 5 hours. Okay, I was somebody who actually gave it a chance. Hey, guess what?
Cracked open an airdrop.
Bye. When I just said bye, I didn't mean kill the fucking. I didn't mean kill the game when I said bye. We're in a match 1! Oh, people were dogpiling on the trailer. You mean people were just reacting to the trailer? People were voicing how they felt about the trailer. I get that you want everybody to just shut up, consume product, and move to the next product, but that's not going to happen. He says the mean old gamers laughed at him for being proud of the game, told him to get out the McDonald's applications, and mocked him for listing having autism in his bio, which they seemed to think was evidence the game would be woke trash. I would love to see an example of his claim that somebody said, oh, you have autism in your bio, so that must mean it is woke trash, because sure, individually, I'm sure there were people saying it was woke trash, and individually, I'm sure people were saying, why do you need to put autism in your bio? But I don't really know if I believe that these two things go together. Either way, maybe 1 or 2 people said it. Out of all of the comments I've read, I haven't seen anything like that, but it is what it is. He does say that there is much constructive criticism that can be and has been said about Highguard's trailer, marketing, and launch, but I don't think it's my place to commentate on that. Oh yeah, because it's not your place to commentate on the actual fucking game that you created, but it's your place to commentate on the state of the video game industry in totality and the state of gamers in totality. This guy is ridiculous for so many reasons, and you can really tell what he was upset about, and that was that people initially were saying it was dead on arrival, and then it died. You are mad that people viewed your trailer, compared it to other games like Concord, and he says, oh, they were using phrases like Concord 2 and Titanfall 3 died for this, and that is exactly what happened. You are just furious that we were right and you were wrong, because people like this cannot accept the fact that they are ever wrong. And again, this is a pretty long post. I'm not going to read all of it, but one of the last things he says is that he wanted to shout out some incredibly supportive journalists and creators who genuinely made a night and day difference in enduring the last 2 months. And most of these people you're probably not going to know, but one that you are actually going to know is somebody who's defended Alyssa Mercante many times. As you can see, has me blocked because, oh no, he can't deal with seeing my opinions that he doesn't like. And well, Josh Sobel's post here is getting wrecked. It's got 2.4k likes, but 2.1k comments, 950 reposts, and most of the comments are ratioing him. Thank you for admitting toxic positivity is indeed a killer. The truth is you guys were high on your own farts. People pooped on it because it was bad. It was generic. It looked like you outsourced everything to people who just buy assets. The people giving you positive encouragement lied. None of them bought skins, and nothing is stopping them from playing. Nothing is stopping every person who likes this tweet from playing and buying the in-app purchases, but it isn't happening. The problem is groupthink. You surround yourself by people who will tell you, yes, that trailer sucked. Yeah, a big problem with the modern day left is collectivism, and if you do not agree with every single opinion they have and you are not part of the hive mind, you are labeled a ist or a phobe, and you are not allowed to be a part of their group, and they reject your opinions at all costs. It is a plague on what modern liberalism could be. Not that I would still agree with half of the things they would say, but they make it impossible for even people who are maybe center left to agree with them, and they push those people out and say, no, you're not welcome here. I'm very sorry for what happened, and I hope you land on your feet. However, I completely disagree with the market response to Highguard saying anything about the visibility of indie shooters. There are countless examples of successful indie multiplayer shooters that people loved. Multiple boring wait phases to fight 3 people on a massive map. I could have pointed out the problems just by watching a gameplay video, and yeah, if they actually had unveiled this months before release, they would have been able to implement 5v5 at release. They would have been able to have implemented some cooler looking skins. They would have been able to maybe tighten up the maps a little bit, but none of that happened. As many people have pointed out, you did no resistance tests. The most deadly thing for business is people telling you what you want to hear. Yes men, brown nosers, appeasers, courtesy bias, echo chambers, cultish ideologies, etc. Getting reliable feedback is very hard and is true. This is why you need a wide range of people who are playing your game, reading your book, criticizing and critiquing your product, but that's not what they did. And now he's taken to social media to voice how unhappy he is. The journos are running damage control. You've got Polygon saying he blames the flop on gAmErS slander, and that Dexerto is saying, oh, within minutes, people decided that the game was dead on arrival and this is unfair, but it is what it is for the Highguard team. Most of these people have been laid off, and all I can really say is it is what it is and it's not good. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this important and informative, make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.